This is an Elliott Wave analysis of compound, and this is continuing on the channel series of finding coins with really good risk reward and high upside probability. So first of all, I found this one, compound. A little background, it's ranked 150th, market cap's 400 million, total supply 10 million, current circulating supply just under 7 million. I don't know a lot about this coin, but I did find the chart with the full candlesticks on it, so easy to see where we're starting from. Now, first of all, if you're not on log scale, it looks like a hot mess. You should be starting your Elliott Wave counts on log scale when you get a mess like this, just to see the separation. First of all, I compared to where we are in other markets, and this clearly seems like a bottom. Got such a hard rejection. Even with the sell-off here, I'll show you what the best fit count is for that, and that is this here. So we have to assume this was an A wave bottom out into non-existence. We then had a B wave up to the upside, and we had a 5-wave pattern here to the downside to complete a bear market in a C wave. You can see we have a triangle wave 4 with a short E, quick sell-off, quick recovery, which is good signs for the bullish nature. One other thing that stuck out in my mind is on the weekly scale. I always like to check this. The trend was losing exhaustion. As you can see, we're making lower lows, higher highs on the RSI. And if this is the third wave, we would expect a fifth wave divergence. So it looks good for the larger term trend, the macro trend. So if we assume this is the count and we complete it in a C wave to the downside, this is my bullish count. I'll zoom into this and show you all the small parts of this, but I'm looking for a way to find a really good risk reward into this entry. Now, I believe we had a 1-2, pretty clear impulse, nice separation there. This was a fast sell-off, but nothing to be weary of. I'll show you that in a moment. And it looks like we're going to be breaking out relatively soon. I'm on log scale for our targets. The 618 retracement of this entire move down is up at 224 on log scale. You can see it doesn't really make any sense on linear. That's why we use log scale in these bullish markets. And eventual targets, if we reach 200, is 480 to complete a wave 1, and that's at this area of resistance over here. But the bears are going to put up quite a fight up here near that third wave area on that at this point of breakdown. All right, now zooming in closer. This is where I got into a lot of my analysis here. This is on the 4-hour. You can clearly see our third of the third here, our fifth of the third here, and we got divergence on the top, exactly what we would expect. Now this came to, measured this out before, I'm not sure why it disappeared on me. But we just broke through the 618, but we found support before the 786. As you can see, so that qualifies as a potential wave 2. Off that, I believe we have a leading diagonal. And if we go on linear scale, you have to do this when you're dealing in crypto because there's such volatility. We did hit the 618 if this is a 1-2, a second 1-2. So that qualifies as potentially done. And the reason I say that is just this sideways action. Like we're really having any sort of trouble here coming back to the downside. We're at the 618 already, just at the moment, a little more room on linear scale. But we're at the 618 of the retracement of this move here, which if we're moving to the downside, which I don't think we are, we should reject from this area. But this looks like a 3-wave, qualifies as a flat past the 70%. So I consider this an ABC. with an extended C wave. So it looks good for the upside at the moment. But this area is the area where we want to try and find an entry. So going in even closer. I've been looking at this, analyzing this for quite a little bit. This is a 3-wave. So I actually think we're having a WXY or an ABC as a flat, which is quite bullish. Keeping an eye on these areas, which is right around the 618. You can see we can go a little bit higher. We can go up to like $67 before we become invalidated, and up to $68 on log scale. So I'm just paying attention in this area. What I want to see is anywhere in this area between the 1.236 and the 1.618 before this becomes invalidated is a move like this, A, B, C, for a running flat, and it should channel when we reach the bottom. So we should be looking in right on this trend line area or a little bit slightly above before moving to the upside. And I checked time fib as well just to make sure, again, not a rule or anything, but I like to make sure these corrections happen at least less than 100% of the initial wave. So if this is a 1-2, we've got a little more room here to play out and just get this fast sell-off, which should spook the market right here before we take off. And the reason I think we need to come back before then is if this is a 3-wave, we didn't make a new low as a flat. Like this could have completed here, but we didn't come below the A wave, and we need to come below the A wave for this to be considered complete. And I have a hard time seeing this as a bottom here because it was so quick of a retracement of the previous wave, and this does not look impulsive. So I believe we need that move to the downside. So I'm going to leave this channel on for now, and my buy area will be wherever the channel meets. Now this can come a little bit higher, it can grind up, like I said, as long as we don't pass that 68.80 before we get that down move, and we'll adjust the channel when we get that rejection. And all you do to get that measurement is take the top of this wave, the A wave here, put on the 1.236, 1.382 extensions and the 1.618, just to get that little pocket area where you'd expect a running flat for a B wave. So as of right now, waiting for that C wave. Like so, can come all the way up here. And I'd expect 5 waves down here if it's a running flat, at which point I'll look for a V cut, break through resistance, find support at the previous resistance, and my trade setup will look like this. Stop at this previous low here and targeting way up to those above targets I mentioned to you before for a third of a third. So that's what I'm looking at in this area. But if we get a WXY, we'd just expect another 3-wave move. But we'll be paying attention to that move when it's considered complete for our entry. And I'll make sure to update you guys on that when I get in. We currently have a 3-wave, A, B, yeah, this is just grinding up. So as soon as it breaks, that's when I'm going to be looking for that buy, wherever this channel ends up finishing. But I'll make sure I have my alarm set for that. It's going to look like a false breakout. If this plays out, it'll just reject really quickly, most likely, especially if it's a running flat, because the C waves tend to be even faster than the A waves. It'll look like a quick sell-off, and then it'll have a quick recovery. So there's going to be a little bit of a window, but luckily this is on the 1-hour candles, so we should have some time to get in. But my targets for that, since we only reached the 382, in an ideal scenario, we'd stop at between the 50 and the 618, so a little bit higher, and we'd get an extension up to the 618, which would break the previous 1-2, and we'd look for an entry here. This one's a little muted. It's taking a little more time to develop. So since we only reached 382, my eventual targets are actually the 1.382 and not the 1.618. When that happens, you just drop at a fib level. So I don't expect as much extensions, even though that's quite extended. Obviously, if we get that trade, we're looking at like a 400% move, but not quite as extended as the other ones we've been following. So as of right now, waiting for this 1-2 to complete in a running flat, where we either get 5 or 3 waves here in the C wave, and I'll be looking for an entry there. We've already broken the high, so if you're forced to enter in a running flat, you'd want this low protected, so the stop could go there. But I'm going to wait for the C wave to develop and take my trade accordingly. All right, guys, that's it for compound. If you want to check out my other trades, I am in all of these currently. There's videos on all of them on my channel, and I update them every move I make. All right, guys, thanks for watching.